Raven fans, Oriole fans. I always feel like my hat got to get it on camera the right way there. Gotta be looking the part here. Thank you very much for joining us here this week on this week's version of the Ravery Sports podcast. Like and subscribe to all of our social media content. So if you're watching this right now, you're watching this on our YouTube page. If you're first seeing it our premiere, we're still premiering it on YouTube, Twitch, and X. So thank you very much for joining us tonight for this. Here we are almost near football season. So thank goodness for that. No more fake football going on here. Pretty soon we got two more preseason games, and then we'll be into the NFL regular season. So we're gonna be happy. We're all happy about that as well. So let's check this out. Let's get going here. Genesis Notary Services is my notary business this week. So definitely check us out here. Genesis Notary Services. If you live in the Shenandoah Valley and you need notary services, definitely give us a call. Had a call this week as well. Had several calls this week. So definitely check us out. Please give us a call anytime. I love to work with people directly more than I'm not going to go too hard on this, but more than signing services, honestly. If people directly give me a call direct, I would love to actually work with people. So definitely check us out. Genesis Notary Services. We're going to have a live stream for Genesis Notary Services on Labor Day. All right. So on Labor Day, we're going to go ahead and live stream. If you have questions about that, about us, Genesis Notary Services, this is for you in the Shenandoah Valley area. Ravorisports.company.site. Hats like this. This jersey is actually on there. The Lamar Jackson jersey right there. So if you do want Lamar jerseys, there, trust me, we got plenty of them for you on the website. Oriole hats, just revamped a lot of it not that long ago. Thinking about expanding that too, so you could go get it maybe not just on the site, but in other places, Shopify. So keep your eye on that. We're going to be doing that as well. Or if you don't see it on there, ravorisports@gmail.com, you can get it in all of those places. So absolutely check it out. If you don't have it, you can go ahead, get it there. Mention the Terps. So we got football season coming for the Terps August 25th. So we're going to go ahead and get that squared away. Big Ten, we're going to talk about that. We're not playing Michigan. We're not playing Ohio State. We are playing Oregon, or I say we, I mean the Terps, are playing Oregon, which is like number 2 in the country this year. USC is also on the schedule. They're in the top 25 as well. So interesting to see how the Terps do this year. Who's going to start for the quarterback, right? Billy Edwards, MJ Morris, Cameron Edge. Interesting to see. We'll talk about all that on our Terps preview as well. And we're going to do our NFL preseason predictions. This is going to be our third one. NFL preseason predictions. We're going to go over that as well. Who's going to win the divisions? This is why you wait to the beginning of the season, because stuff is happening. They had a trade today. Matt Judon was traded to the Falcons, it looks like, as well. Ayuk trade still out there. J.J. McCarty, season-ending injury, not going to play at all this year. All that stuff affects it. So we will go over all of that. See, Charles Harris, Legal Shield. We are LegalShield.com. Definitely, please check that out as well. Legal Shield. The value of the Legal Shield is tremendous. You guys are going to love Legal Shield. So definitely check it out. Everybody that's gotten the Legal Shield package definitely says, hey, I've gotten great value out of this. With everything that's going on, the cost of lawyer fees isn't going down either. So you can save a lot of money. Only a couple dollars each month. People are shocked when they see, like, whoa, how much is it? They're shocked. So definitely check that out as well. Here we go. Ravens third recap here. So we're going to do that next week. Next week, we're going to see who's going to make the 53. We're going to predict it right here. But this week, we're going to talk more about training camp. We had an actual game this week. Ravens have a game this week as well. So we're definitely going to go over all of that as well. Who is thumbs up, thumbs down, all of that stuff as well. Had a bit of tough stuff that happened here this week to the Ravens. We'll go over that. game this week going against the Falcons. So they're going to be downtown at M&T Bank, downtown Baltimore with that. So let's talk about the first game. Let's go over it. Thumbs up, thumbs down. So the Ravens played the Eagles. I shared my thoughts on that. If you want to check that out on the Twitch page. But overall, thumbs up as far as the first game and also representing the camp overall. What's going on in the game? Nate Wiggins. Nate Wiggins was terrific. The only negative was he got hurt. He's going to have to sit out for practice a little while. No reason for him to play anymore. He looked like the best player on the field, highest PFF grade. He could be a better version of Peters. He's going to frustrate some fans at times because he's not a traditional corner. Doesn't need to be. He's got great speed. He's an outstanding outside cornerback. He's going to probably play in the slot initially with the injury at the beginning of the season here to Arthur Millette. So definitely Nate Wiggins. Absolutely thumbs up. Andrew Voorhees. You're not hearing any more about the left guard competition. I think Voorhees looked good. I think he will start. I think they want him to start. I think he's handling well. He's getting complimented by the defense as well. Only concern, he has an injury history. He wasn't healthy. It wasn't just a combine. He had a couple injuries at USC. But absolutely, Andrew Voorhees is an outstanding guard. I definitely think thumbs up for him. Look good. Owen Wright is looking like he's taking the RB3 away from Ali. Ali was injured this week. I think in the game he kind of outplayed him. I do believe they'll carry 3 running backs at the beginning of the season. You know, one of them is not going to be Keaton Mitchell. They're going to carry 3 running backs. I definitely think it is going to be. I definitely think it's going to be Owen Wright to be one of these backs and carry him. So Owen Wright is definitely taking that third running back spot away as well. So I definitely think Owen Wright definitely is in that third running back spot. Roger Rosengarten. I don't think he looked quite as good to me as Andrew Voorhees. He was also splitting time. He played, I think it was 18 snaps in the game. So he played a little bit less. Not worried about that. I think he's going to need some reps, but I think he is going to become the starting right tackle by game 1. I don't think if it's not in game 1 when they play Kansas City, shortly after that, Rosengarten I thought looked pretty good. So I definitely think Rosengarten definitely is getting there. They may start McCarr for a game or 2, but I think by the end of the season going forward, I think definitely he's getting there. Ben Cleveland played well at center. Interesting with Ben Cleveland. I think I've kind of figured this. You know, we keep hearing training camp reports. This guy's not playing well. He's falling off start. He's not starting. He's this and that. But you know what? When I see him, he never looks that bad. He looked good in the game, and he looks pretty decent when we see him. Some guys maybe I think he's just in Harbaugh's doghouse. Like, he's not maybe a good practice player or something, but he never looks terrible when I actually see him in games. He's not all pro by any stretch, but when I see him in games, he never looks terrible. I mean, he looked pretty good at center. I thought, now again, not going against the first team, all that, et cetera, et cetera. So that factors in as well. But, you know, wasn't like he played terrible in that. So definitely keep that in mind with that. All right. Thumbs up for the Ravens. Daniel Falele. Yeah. Daniel, I don't know what to say about Daniel Falele. Daniel Falele just didn't play well. It just didn't look good. That's kind of what I was just talking about with Ben Cleveland. Falele is ahead of Ben Cleveland at the right guard. Ben Cleveland never looked like that on Saturday. Like, he just it's weird. You put him at tackle, he's not quick enough. You put him at guard, he's not. You put him at guard, he's not quick enough. He's not fast enough at the tackle spot. That's what it looks like with him. So interested to see what happens with Falele. He should start. I would think. But it'd be interesting to see what actually happens with him there as well. David Ajabo, boy oh boy. I kind of commented on this and said that he's turning into uh, like Ronnie Stanley. So he didn't play in the game at all. He's been practicing. Well, not exactly. He's been on the side. He's still working his way in. Well, he had ACL surgery. Yeah, he had one, then he had another one. Now he's working his way back in. Well, he's not cleared yet. Well, then he had two good practices. What's going on? Like I'm confused. That's what this is turning into. Like I don't know what's going on with the Jabo. You hear thing. This is kind of like the opposite of Ben Cleveland. Like it's you always hear these great things, but we never really see it. So interesting to see what happens there. I'm pretty sure Van Way is going to start. Thumbs down. Josh Johnson, oh, man, not good. I don't think there's a reason why he's like 39 and never started. Uh, I think I still like him as a third quarterback. I think that's what they were hoping, that maybe he would step up if you give him more reps or whatever, a second quarterback. But I think it's clear he's a third quarterback. Nelson Aguilar and Devontae Walker haven't been great in camp either. I thought Nelson Aguilar had some drops. I don't think wasn't great in the game, unpresent in the game. Haven't heard that much about Devontae Walker. So I think he's a little bit behind Aguilar, but hoping that we would hear more about him stepping up, becoming the third receiver as well there. So that's thumbs up and thumbs down. Outside linebacker, third round. Isaac came up with 11 on 11 actions, came up with his first sack of Jackson, who was scrambling around to avoid other rushers for the Sunday practice. I think Isaac is probably going to be inactive for some games here at the start. I think he's missed at this point. I think he's missed about too much practice time to start immediately. But I still really like it. I definitely think he definitely plays like they want to play. It may take him about a half season working because he's still kind of working his way in as well. We will see what's going on, but I think that's good to see him on the field getting reps. Rashad Bateman practiced for the first time in a week the other day on Tuesday rather, participating in an early portion before shutting it down on Monday. This is another one. Bateman has been in and out. Look, fans keep telling me he's fine. I don't know. Again, missing practice, missing game, missing this. Best ability is availability. I could say this. Bateman as a receiver, no concern at all. He's absolutely a number one level receiver when he's on the field. But that's the problem. When can we get him on the field and be that number one receiver? They're definitely counting on him now. Just talked about how Aguilar and Devonta and Nelson Aguilar have looked. So him in the training room is not a good thing as well. So interesting to see what happens. We're going to talk about Kyle Hamilton here. Twice suffered apparent low leg injury Sunday's practice. Ran and stretched a member of the training staff early in Monday's practice. So, yeah, we don't want that because Kyle Hamilton, I think, is one of the better safeties in the league. I don't think there's any question about it. He's top shelf. A little bit of a scare, but we will see. TJ Tampa played in for individual drills coming off the PUP list on Monday. Harbaugh and hope Tampa be healthy enough to see game action before the preseason ends. Don't think we're going to see him at the Falcons game. I doubt it. He's still working his way in, kind of like Isaac. He's missed so much of camp. It's a bigger deal when you're a rookie. I think it's a big deal, honestly, for any player. But it's a bigger deal when you're a rookie. You're still learning. You're still figuring things out. Then when you start behind, it's going to take a little bit longer. Good news is I don't think it's going to start. I don't think it's going to affect them for the long term. But yeah, still got a little bit of work to do there. Tight end Mark Andrews avoided injury Wednesday morning after being involved in a car accident. So shout out that he's okay. Um, that's scary. I've been in a car accident. I should be dead right now after the car accident I was in, and thank God I'm still here, and thank God Mark Andrews is still here. I mean, cars have come a long way with safety, and thank goodness he's okay. He did not practice Wednesday. I think John Harbaugh stated that he was scheduled off anyway. He wasn't going to practice because he's a vet now. So good anyway that he didn't actually have to practice. Also, one more thing, Joe DeLisandris is dealing with an acute illness that will require ongoing treatment for extended period. So the Ravens have hired offensive line coach George Wortham as well. So this is a guy Harbaugh was grateful. It looks like he came close to getting a job with the Ravens before, so they were happy with him getting that. Shout out to Joe D, offensive line coach. Hopefully he's well. Forget about all the problems with the offensive line and all the other stuff. Just our thoughts and prayers are with him that he has to go to the hospital. He's about 70 years old now. So yeah, Joe D is injured. So hopefully things work out with him so he's able to come back to the team and hopefully, but all is well with his health. So we're hoping for that. But the Ravens, in lieu of that, knowing that he will not be here for a while, did make a coaching change, somebody to replace him while he is out. All right. So, camp so far. Overall, I think defense is ahead of the offense here so far. Defense, nothing I've seen with the defense. Every day, defense is kind of ahead of the offense. Lamar is doing his thing. Lamar is Lamar. he's able to get it to tight ends. He's able to get it to Mark Andrews. Isaiah Likely had a good day. Had several good days. Anthony Miller apparently has had a couple good days here. So that's all good. So, but definitely defense has been more dominant than the offense. Offense kind of figuring it out a bit. Few new pieces as well. The backup quarterback thing, I don't think it's going to work. They're doing something. Got to look at Tannehill out. Ryan Tannehill is the obvious one. I'm sure they're going to be what they're probably going to do, would be the most Raven-like thing, is wait till the final cuts of another team and then pick up somebody right before the season when it's as cheap as possible. That's my guess as well. Unless, Tannehill or somebody like they're interested in really calls them and says, hey, I'll play for the minimum. I think that's probably what's going to happen. But it is, man, I can't see them playing. I can't see them going in the season with Josh Johnson all season the way he's looked. Devin Leary doesn't look ready either. Devin Leary wasn't good. He was, at least he's more athletic, ran the ball. Neither of these guys look like they're ready. So let's see how that goes as well. All right. So let's go through our list here that we have been doing. Top 10 lists. Top 10 outside linebackers, edge rush, 3-4 teams, okay? So these are teams that have more linebackers on the field than linemen, okay? 3-4 teams, edge rush, okay? So that's what the list is here. So some people will say Myles Garrett, or we already covered that, guys. So these teams are 3-4 teams, like the Ravens. Ravens, we don't have anybody on the list here. But these are teams with 3-4 outside linebackers. Edge rush, the list. Number 10, yeah, I know, Joey Bosa. Injured in camp. Again, best ability is availability. Believe it or not, he'd be much, much higher had it not been for all the injury issues. But this guy is a freak of nature, a beast of a beast. He just got to stay healthy. That's why he's way down here. I do think a healthy Joey Bosa is actually a top 10, but that's an if. But I think under circumstances, I'm putting him in the top 10. Joey Bosa, Bo Mafe for the Seattle Seahawks. So this is a guy up and comer, had 8 sacks last year as well. Definitely starting. I'd love to see what Mike McDonald can do with his speed. That would be interesting to see. Definitely, I think with his speed that he has, Mike McDonald's exotic blitzes because he's got very versatile guy. Mike McDonald will absolutely know how to use him. Definitely, he's a guy who definitely can get 10, 11, 12 sacks. Hasn't done it, didn't do it last year, but definitely has that type of ability. Here's another young guy, Byron Young for the Rams. So you don't have a Larry Donald in there to take three guys, but I don't think it matters with this guy. He's a little smaller, I think, than I'd like to see him get like 10 more pounds or a few more pounds to really be dominant. But he's another guy at about the 8-9 sack level. I think to get to that 10, 12 level. Great, actually, quickness, hands, great instincts. I love some guys at linebacker. I really think a lot of it, even inside and outside, is instinct. How do you react well? Do you see the play well? Do you see the field well? Do you see the rush? What do you see well really quick on a dime? That's what makes a great linebacker rush. I think Byron Young, absolutely has a lot of that. He is number 8. Here's some names we know now. Alexander Highsmith for the Squealers. This is like the Squealer tradition. I will give the Squealers all the credit in the world. They have great outside linebacker duos. You have it. You've seen it throughout the years. They have had Kevin Green and Greg Lloyd and Jason Gilden and James Harrison and Lamar Wood and etc. They have it now. I think him on a lot of other teams would actually have more sacks, be more of a focal point, but doesn't hurt like that you're the second guy, take this double team. And even without J.J. Watt there, he was terrific the year before. Definitely got double-digit sacks. I definitely have him at 7. Matt Judon. I need to update the graphic because he's been traded to the Falcons. Yes. So the Falcons now have Matt Judon, and that puts him, I think, higher than not higher than 6 probably, but I would say that's a good for him because the Patriots, look, they're not going to be any good. He's going to be on a good defense now. He's on a team that's going to score more points. Good for him that he's going to go ahead and go to a team that's going to be more competitive. I think, this is the problem. Like, we're still looking for pass rushers, and you had Matt Judon in the building. I'm talking about the Ravens here. Matt Judon is a complete linebacker, former 5th rounder, guy who worked his way. Always the pass rush ability was there. Had to work on some other things. He steadily got better over time at the other things. I think he's a complete outside linebacker as well. Harold Landry for the Titans, I think, is probably one of the best kept secrets in the league. I think all he does has been the last couple of years is rush the quarterback, get there, and not get a lot of credit for it, not get a lot of national media. That's kind of the case with Titans players, but this guy is terrific. I think Harold Landry is definitely a top 10 player in the NFL. Top 5, I think. I don't have him higher yet. I definitely think he can get there to the top of the list. He is terrific. The Giants, couple Giants, Kayvon Thibodeau. The Giants defense is not bad. This guy is not bad. This is probably of the list. I know we're talking about edge rush, but he's a complete player. Complete player. He's playing that outside linebacker 3-4 with the Giants, playing on a team where he's going to blitz a lot. Interesting to see how it goes, but I think and I think also this year he's boosted by the guy next on the list, Brian Burns, no longer in Carolina, now with the Giants. So think about those two guys on the edge. So Thibodeau with double-digit sacks without Brian Burns there. Look, good job by the Giants getting this guy. Burns had about 8 sacks. He's way better than that. I think he's definitely underrated. Watch the tape of Brian Burns, and you'll be so impressed with what he can do. He's not just a pass rusher. He is a pass rusher. He's going to get double-digit sacks for sure as long as he stays healthy. But he can do so many things. Watch him stop the run. Watch him pay the pass on. Watch him. He does so many things well. So Brian Burns is the real deal. No question about it. Khalil Mack is a monster. That's the word I think about with Khalil Mack. The only thing is kind of production is kind of like this. But last year he was great. I think Bosa healthy would help him a lot. Kind of get him single up again a little bit, get him some more help. But I think Khalil Mack is a monster. I think like to stay in front of him is almost impossible with that when he's on a roll. But there are times he just doesn't always look interested or something where it always felt like he should even be better than he was because he's so dominant at times. But number one, the Squealers, TJ Watt, his brother was JJ Watt. His brother, also Derek Watt, played fullback for the Squealers. Watt, I don't think is close. Watt, I don't think there's any doubt about it. I mean, can't block him. The three guys I've seen him run through three guys so quick and strong. Some guys are speed rushers, some guys are power rushers, and to get to the top of the list, you're both. So TJ Watt, number one for the Squealers. I think if the Squealers make it to the playoffs, they have the biggest difference maker here in TJ Watt. There you go. So number one, TJ Watt. I think this is the big money positions here in the league. 5 positions: the quarterback, the running back, the offensive tackle, the edge rush, and corner. That's where all the money is, like that. So those are the positions on the field, and this is definitely one of them. I think Watt's at the top of the list. I think healthy. There's no. All right. So we're going ahead and we're going to go over this now. So we just talked about the linebackers, top 10 linebackers in the NFL, getting closer to the season. Getting closer to the season, deeper on defense. But let's talk about a little bit more here. So I'm talking about awards in sports. I'm not as big on in life in award, but there are certain things you do that awards that have cachet, that are a big deal, right? Graduating college is a big deal. Graduating graduating from grad school or getting some awards are meaningful, right? For whatever reason. Some people look at awards as more meaningful than others, right? So you graduate from Harvard. I keep going back to the college thing, but you graduate from Harvard. Some people think that might be more valuable than graduating from where I did, like Charter College, right? State College today. So it's a thing. So who are the awards in all sports, U.S. sports, and I want to caveat this because I'm not counting international stuff. The sports in this country, what are the 5 biggest awards for that? So these are individual awards, okay? So we're not going to talk about, again, Stanley Cup, Super Bowl, whatever, and individual awards that one person would win, okay? Number 5, the Green Jacket. I think the Masters, is something. No matter what you do as a golfer in a career, no matter how long you play or whatever, they're going to ask you, where is your Green Jacket? Have you won the Masters? How are you? You're not one of the greatest at anything until you actually have the Green Jacket. Masters winners actually get lifetime exemptions. They can play there forever. But Arnold Palmer did. Tiger Woods still does. A lot of guys, a lot of the older ones did. Jack Nicklaus. To be known as a Masters winner and have the Green Jacket, I think is a big deal. I think that is one of the top 5 awards that anybody can win in any sport. I think as that 5. I think golf is not as high. I think this is probably why this is a little bit lower, golf itself, but it's still very relevant. I'm not a big golf guy myself, but I do watch the Masters every year. So this is a big thing. So winning the Masters, winning the Green Jacket, I have that one at number 5. Number 4, our guy, Lamar Jackson, showing his NFL MVP. That is 4. This is the biggest award in the biggest sport in the U.S. There's no question about it. I think it's not as high because it doesn't seem to have the cachet as the other ones on the list do. But I think it's a big deal. I think to win an NFL MVP, I think really separates you in a sport that is so visible, So Lamar Jackson has a lot of credibility because he is an NFL MVP. Whoever has the NFL MVP is it's got a lot of cachet. It's only four because I think for the one of the bigger reasons is football players aren't, even though it's the most famous sport, they're not quite as visible in general. Like they have helmets on their heads, people can't see them. The certain guys, they're one of many, so it's not as a cachet. You really separate yourself with the MVP. But I think biggest sport and biggest award in the biggest sport, NFL MVP. I think that's four. Number three, the late great Kobe Dean Bryant, the late great David Stern, and number three, the NBA MVP. We just talked about visibility. People know NBA players, nothing on their heads, one of five, and it's a rare air. Not a lot of players get MVP awards. You don't see that a lot. Jokic, I think, won it two straight times. Um, I think the most in history, I think, was Kareem at six. The great Michael Jordan won it five. You see guys winning it multiple times. Only certain players. Well, I think that really separates players, basketball players as well. So winning an MVP award really is a separator as well. I think this is a bigger than the Green Jacket, bigger than the NFL MVP. I think the NBA MVP that means something. That's a big deal. So when you actually win the NFL NBA MVP, that's three. Nope. Oh, we just did that one. Number two, the Heisman Trophy. Uh, there's the Heisman pose. I was going to use a trophy in there, but I don't think it's any better than Desmond Howard there doing the Heisman pose in the game, showing when he was a player at Michigan that he can win the Heisman, that he should win the Heisman Trophy. And he did win the Heisman Trophy, by the way. The Heisman Trophy for football players is higher because you are branded forever as a Heisman Trophy winner. I think when you talk about Desmond Howard, Herschel Walker, Barry Sanders, Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, you talk about these guys, the first thing you say, they're a Heisman Trophy winner. Johnny Manziel, guys like it who would win the Heisman Trophy, that means something. They probably in most cases, even when they win NFL MVP or one of those awards, the Heisman Trophy is higher. I think it's the biggest. It's the biggest award in all college sports. I think it's number two in any sport. I think to say you're a Heisman Trophy winner, that means a ton as far as your cachet. You see the commercial, the Heisman House, etc. All those guys, it's not a real thing, but it is in terms of that. Like Herschel Walker ran for Senate. I think because he won the Heisman. We were talking about the Heisman Trophy. So the Heisman Trophy, I think, is number two. But number one, the gold medal. No question about it. Gold medal. There's Towson's, Michael Phelps there. I think it's the biggest sporting award, even though it's an international competition, anywhere in the world. If you are anywhere in the world, I'm from, if I say I'm in the middle of Australia, the middle of Austria, the middle of anywhere, and I'm from the United States, or I'm from it, and I win the gold medal, more than any of our sports that we have that we cover on this channel or anything like that. If you say you win the gold medal, I think that's the biggest award anywhere in the world. Not the silver, not the gold medal, anywhere in the world. There's nothing bigger than that, the gold medal. There you go. So those are the five biggest awards in sports as well. So I definitely think that I was going to do that. It seems like while you're doing this after the Olympics, you feel like I did wait a little bit till the after the Olympics, but I kind of always felt like that, where the gold medal is a huge deal for an athlete. It's a huge deal for anyone. If you can get a job anywhere, you say you're a gold medal winner. That makes you one of the greatest athletes in the world. You was the greatest athlete in the sport. So there you go with the gold medal. Number five, the biggest awards in U.S. sports. Speaking of the gold medal, the U.S. win the gold medal on Sunday. I think it was the game on Sunday? I think it was Saturday. Game was on think it was Saturday. Yeah. So the game was on Saturday. It was terrific. The ending of the game. Steph Curry. I don't. LeBron James was the one that actually win. LeBron James was actually the one that actually win the MVP of the Olympics, which is fine. He actually played the most minutes. A lot of people wanted Steph Curry. Steph didn't have a whole better tournament. I tell you what, though, Steph in that last game was terrific against France. You can't even double team him. You couldn't even double team him. You knew he was going to shoot it. Two guys on him, even when they double teamed him, he's shooting a fadeaway from 26 feet. He checked the whole team, LeBron, Durant, they were deferring to him. That was terrific. I thought they were great down the stretch. It didn't look good all the way there. I mean, they definitely had a struggle. It's going to be a struggle. A lot of teams have a lot of good players. Victor Wembanyama, maybe the best player in the next coming years, was on France and won. So Nikola Jokic, these are different times. Great players now are all over the world, even though it's our game from the U.S. Back to Jaden Naismith. So shout out to the U.S. basketball team winning the gold medal. It was terrific. Terrific last game. Terrific last game. Got to talk about Jason Tatum again. 2 DNPs. Not many minutes total in the whole thing. Played less minutes than Derek White. Played less minutes than Derek Booker. Than Booker from the Suns. Played less minutes than Joel Embiid, I think, overall. I kind of understand that one because he's a big. You're gonna give, but oh wow, man. I'm gonna say this: politics are a real thing. We're in political season, obviously. I mean, I'm not talking about the political candidates here, but politics. I'm talking about in the workplace, in business, and all that stuff. It's a real thing. It was a real thing here. All of a sudden, and it almost seems sacrilegious seeing that they're great players, obviously, because LeBron, Curry, and LeBron James, Steph Curry, and Kevin Durant all were the best players, and that was their team. No question about it. They were the ones that were going to run that thing. They were the ones that were going to decide. That was their team. There was no question about it. Interesting that Jason Tatum, the guy who just won the championship, had to sit. Jaylen Brown, not needed on the team. Now, I don't know if that was Steve Kerr deciding that because these guys are going to be outgoing probably the last chance. I don't know. I don't know if they just took it. They were just out. You know what? We doing this. We got this. I don't know if this was organic. I don't know. I think, but it's insane that how you have the guy who won the MVP, who I think is a top 5 player in the league, sitting for most of it. He played, I think, 11 minutes in the final. Strange. That don't tell me about basketball that's you sound silly when you say that. Tatum is a top 5 player in the league. He had a better season than they did, and he won the title, and he got DNP. Now that said, you can't argue with the result, right? I mean, they did win the gold medal, so there's no question about that. And look, those guys are still great players, but this was not just organic. And I don't know them. I obviously don't know. I obviously don't know Steve Kerr or whatever. But this is definitely politics involved. That Curry, LeBron, and Durant, this was made clear that this was going to be their team. They were going to have the run of the place. And I think that's what happened. I think that's why Tatum didn't play because of Durant. They didn't want it. That's why Derek White played more because he's more of a role player, etc. Booker was kind of accepted. And I think that happened. I will say this. Jason Tatum, you got to make him pay for that. Make him remember that. As great of a player I think he is, but he kind of has the Russell Wilson problem. Angel Reese, as a woman, seems to have the issue of she talks too much or whatever. She's too emotional. With a guy, you're not alpha enough. People kind of tend to think sometimes. I'm not big personally on machismo, and I'm more of a person of actual results. Jason Tatum's got results, in this life, and I just thought that was interesting to see what happened. So, but it was a great finish. Anyway, I thought Curry was fantastic at the down stretch. So actually, so shout out, we won. U.S. wins the gold medal. Tatum, he's gonna make him pay for that, and he should. He's gonna make him pay for that because that was wild. I've never uh, sitting a guy who is probably could have won MVP. Don't need him. Wow. All right, so let's shift to baseball here. We are going to talk about our baseball summer series. Put me in cold. I'm ready to play the game. All right, so our baseball summer series. A few more weeks here. We're going to talk about Dominican League baseball here as well. And we are going to talk about our baseball summer series, the DSL Orioles, Dominican Summer League Orioles Orange. There's two. The black we're going to talk about next week, and we're going to talk about, even though the season over, we'll give a little bit talk a little bit about the Florida Complex League Orioles in Sarasota. Talk a little bit about that. But their season is over, where we're not going to go over any players. Little bit this week. I did want to talk about how this works too, because I don't think a lot of fans understand how the Dominican, the International League system works. So let's talk about that. So 2024 signing class, this happens around January of the year, where international players are signed to teams. The Orioles, before Mike Elias actually signed with the Orioles as the GM, didn't actually participate in this much, but now they're participating in international signing of players. So Mike Elias goes into a pool of players that are young. A lot of them are not even 18 years old, 16, 17. They play at these camps in the Dominican internationally, and they are major league teams recruit them, and they sign them. A lot of times, I don't know what the exact age, but I think they have to be at least 16. I'm not all the way sure on that. But you sign these players. And so there is a pool of international money that teams are allowed to sign from. I think it's $8 or $10 million or somewhere in that range. I'm not sure the particulars of each team, but somewhere around there. So you take a lot of these young players and you play them and you put them in the minors, and you hope that they do well. Sometimes 5, 6 years in the minors. A lot of them are very young as well. Samuel Basallo, I think, is now the top minor league player in the Orioles system. Came out of this. He's been their prize of this. So you're going to see this. So they're taking a 2024 class topped by the $1.3 million bonus given by shortstop Emilio Sanchez, with each team with a total bonus allotment that it can choose when it was signed. They signed about 19 players. So we'll go through the list. Christian Estatio, hopefully I say this right, Frandier Chirinos, Emmanuel Cormiel. That's one list. Most of these are from the Dominican Republic. Alexander Rincon. We talked about Emilio Sanchez, Victor Santos as well. Argentina Valdez as well. Chile Valenzuela. God forgive me. Hope I get these right. Luis Espinosa is also one there as well. Angel Garcia played in Valenzuela. Elvin Garcia from the Dominican Republic. Juan Garcia from Valenzuela. And Saul Gomez from the Dominican. All right. Sorry about that. I had to charge it up there again. Stefan Martinez, really good player from the Dominican Republic. Esteban Mahia from the Dominican Republic as well. Yaki Marcier, also from the Dominican, and Jerome Noel from the Dominican Republic, a shortstop. Most of these are 17 and 18 years old, if not 16. So very, very young. A lot of times you see it in this league. A lot of these guys are not even 17 years old. So let's talk about how the DSL Orange is doing this year. So Chris Madera is the manager as well, 35-17. They are really good. Escuela Bonilla is 19 years old from Panama. I'm not sure if it's the same one. He switched the pitcher, but he's been really good for them. I think he's got the most amount of wins. Esteban Luza has an ERA of less than 2. So he's been good for them as well this year. Yorton Sanchez has been fantastic. He's from Cuba, playing in the Dominican League. 6 home runs, 37 RBIs. He's been outstanding, over 300 average. Emilio Sanchez playing third base for them. He won Player of the Week recently too, Jordan Sanchez. So shout out to him. Emilio Sanchez playing a lot of third base, 2 home runs, 27 RBIs, hitting over 330. Stephan Martinez, we just talked about him. These 3 are the main event there. So these guys, I think, have the most major league potential as well. Really big, tall guy, Martinez. 22 home runs, 7 stolen base, 287 average. Christian, I pronounce his last name. He's only 16 years old. He's only 17 years old. No home runs, 16 RBIs, good batting average, 290. Felix Empro as well, 18 years old, 5 home runs. I don't think that's right. I think he's got RBIs, 37 RBIs, 318 average. So he's doing very well as well. So this is the future, guys. These are the young Dominican, Venezuelan, Cuban players that are coming from the Dominican. Forgive me if I got the country wrong or anything like that. But I want the fans to know how good a lot of these young guys are. This is what you're seeing. You're seeing a lot of graduations at the major league level here. Get that off the screen. So you're seeing a lot of graduations at the major league level. Kobe Mayo now in the majors. Jackson Holiday now in the majors. Colton Cowser now in the majors. Had some trades out. What's going to replace them? These guys, these young guys. Now, they're 17, 18. No, you will not see them next year. It's going to be about 4 or 5 years before you see a lot of these guys. This is rookie ball. So these guys are brand new pros. So keep that in mind. Also, too, next week, we're going to look at the facility that is there that has just been built. So it is gorgeous facility out there in the Dominican Republic. Orioles have built for the players. All right. So let's talk a little Orioles baseball here. The Orioles report. There you go. I don't know how good the charge was there. But there you go. So let's go ahead and get that squared away here. Orioles win 1 of 2 of 3 against the Tampa Bay Rays. I thought they looked good against the Rays. I thought they're still winning games when they're getting good pitching, which is less often than it's been. Offense still not quite as good, but they're still winning games when they're getting good pitching. 1 of 2, just won tonight's game 4-1 over the Nats as well. So they look good. Good job by the Orioles here, salvaging that here as well. A little better effort tonight from Kramer, I thought, but we will see. Zach Eflin, that's a good trade so far, huh? Eflin has been really, really stellar for them here. Where would they be? I mean, you get the Grayson injury, so you got to have somebody help Burns, and that's been Zach Eflin. Colton Cowser, I think, might be the American League Rookie of the Year. He's taken over that leadoff spot. He's been hitting home runs. Average isn't great, but he's definitely doing exactly what they need, and I think he's been terrific in the outfield as well. Adley's been getting better. The power stroke hasn't returned, but he's making more contact. He's getting hits. He's moved back to the second spot tonight. So shout out to Adley as well. Cano, not good lately as well. Still getting the high leverage. He just hasn't been good this year, period. Last year he was really good. I think he has some nights where he's just not it. Burt Smith, not as good. The bullpen in general has really struggled down. It's such a stark contrast compared to last season and earlier even this season. The bullpen, Burt Smith has struggled. Austin Slater got a start. Some of it is he hasn't played much, but I don't think he hasn't really contributed much here since he has been here. Orioles announced second base Juan Segura. I keep saying Juan. That's not his name. Gene Segura. I tell you what, this guy during the World Series a few years ago was great, man. I thought he had an excellent season a couple years ago during that Phillies run. I don't think they would have won without his play. So he's actually been out of baseball. Phillies didn't re-sign him. He was a free agent, kind of went to the Marlins, kind of fade out. So he's been playing in an independent league. This is not bad here for a post-August, getting a guy. I think they're still kind of hoping Kobe Mayo could come around. But, hey, not bad. I'm for it. I love him. I actually like this. Some people actually like this. J.D. Davis, released by the Yankees 2 weeks ago. He signed as well. I think he's in Norfolk playing. So J.D. Davis, a veteran guy, a guy that definitely not a guy, hey, not a middle of the order guy, but somebody you can actually play in a couple of situations here. Actually, J.D. Davis, somebody who can help the Orioles win. So keep that in mind. I think that's not bad either. I think getting these guys actually in their current situation, not the worst thing in the world. Orioles traded one of their former minor league pitchers of the year, Ryan Watson, to the San Francisco Giants for cash. Somebody would say, why are you trading pitching? Somebody was a minor league pitcher of the year. He's really struggled. He's getting older. I think he's 26. I think that's why going to a team, the Giants, that has maybe some interest in him, and it's good for him because he was not coming to Baltimore anytime soon, but we will see about that. So good for him getting out to San Francisco. Hopefully he gets to the majors. Jacob Webb, right-handed pitching, Saturday testing, no structural damage. Some talk he was out for the season. I don't think that's going to happen. No structural damage. I think they're going to obviously slow walk it, but September-ish for him. So we will hope to get him back the way the bullpen has struggled. Santander is slated to become a free agent following the season. Outfielder told reporters he hasn't talked to the Orioles in any extension talks. Lack of negotiations don't seem to bother Santander. It's not bothering because he knows he's out of here. I don't think there's any chance you can sign Santander. I don't know that. I'm just speculating. I think Santander with the season he's had, I don't think it was much anyway. I think he almost had a better chance if he had like 20 home runs. Then you might go under the radar. You're not going to hit 40 home runs and nobody's going to know. Somebody's going to sign him to a big contract here as well. Kobe Mayo got his first major league hit as well. So shout out to Kobe Mayo getting that. We already talked about Segura as well. Sir Anthony Dominguez looks like he's taken over the closer role. Interesting. I don't think they had that in mind. They haven't been using Kimbrel. They haven't been using Cano. I have even noticed in the eighth, now Perez, even though he's been up and down, so they have been using him in the late innings as well. And player of the year and player of the week, yes, sir. Why not? Jackson Holiday is terrific. His power is a sight to behold for somebody his size. He's somebody who's not 6'4", 6'5", or whatever it is. But the fact that he hits for power the way he does, very, very impressive as well. There you go. Thank you for joining us this week on the Ravorisports Sports Podcast. Like and subscribe to all of our social media platforms. Thank you for putting up with us. Enjoy all the games. You have a good week.